there, I'm Rapunzel. Welcome to Fairy Tales and Pirate Tales Story Time. Today I'm going to be reading a story about me. This story is about where I came from and how I got my powers and where I am now. I hope you enjoy. Once upon a time in a land far away, a drop of sunlight fell onto the ground. It grew a magical flower that had healing powers. An old woman named Mother Gothel discovered the flower and hoarded it for its power. When the queen got very ill, they searched for the flower until they found it. At last, the flower made the queen well, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The king and queen lodged lanterns into the sky to celebrate. One night, the vengeful Mother Gothel slipped into the nursery where she discovered that the healing power from the flower had transferred into the baby's hair. She cut a lock off, but the hair lost the power and turned brown. Mother Gothel knew she wanted to stay young forever, so she snatched the baby. The king and queen were heartbroken. Each year on the princess's birthday, they released lanterns into the sky. They hoped that the light would guide their princess home. Mother Gothel kept Rapunzel locked away in the tower and raised her as her own daughter. She pretended she loved her, but she only loved Rapunzel for her golden hair. Rapunzel's 18th birthday, she told Mother Gothel she wanted to see the floating lights. She showed her a painting and said they appear every year on my birthday, and I can't help but feel like they are meant for me. Mother Gothel told Rapunzel she was weak and helpless and she wouldn't be able to handle outside, and did never ask to go out of the tower again. Meanwhile, in another part of the forest, a thief named Flynn Rider was on the run with his partners in crime, the Stabbington brothers. Flynn clutched tightly to the satchel and held the stolen crown. He knew the Stabbington brothers were too dangerous to be trusted, so he left them and took off with the satchel. But the captain and the guard and his horse Maximus were on his heels. The tricky thief knocked the captain off and took Maximus and landed in the saddle himself. Maximus spun in circles until he sunk his teeth into the satchel. As Flynn yanked the satchel free, it went flying into the air. Satchel snagged off a tree that extended over a cliff. Flynn and Maximus both made their way out onto the tree trunk, but the tree broke, sending the thief and the horse topping into a canyon below. He landed. Flynn took off before Maximus could pick up his scent. The thief ducked into a cave. When he emerged from the other side, he saw something amazing, an enormous tower. It would make a perfect hiding place. He climbed the tower and scrambled into the open window. At the top, finally, he breathed a sigh of relief. He was safe. Clang! Suddenly, everything went black. Rapunzel had been startled by an intruder. She snuck up behind him and hit him with a frying pan. Flynn was the first man she had ever seen. It looked like the scary ruffians that Mother Gothel had warned her about. Rapunzel thought he was actually quite pleasant looking. After making sure that he was unconscious, Rapunzel dragged Flynn to the closet and stuffed him inside. Rapunzel felt exhilarated. Surely this act of bravery will prove to Mother that she could handle herself in the outside world. Then Rapunzel noticed a mysterious gold object in Flynn's satchel. She placed it on top of her head and gazed into the mirror. She felt different somehow. Finally, Mother Gothel arrived. Rapunzel brought up the floating lights again. She was about to show Mother the strange man in the closet, but Mother cut her off. "We're done talking about this. You are not leaving this tower ever," roared Mother Gothel. Rapunzel asked for another birthday present. She requested a special paint that would require Mother to leave for 3 days. As soon as Mother Gothel left for her journey, Rapunzel didn't waste a second. She dragged Flynn out of the closet and offered him a deal. "You take me to see the floating lights, and I'll return you home safely with your satchel." Flynn had no choice but to agree. As much as Rapunzel longed to leave her tower, when the moment came, she was terrified. She had never been outside before. Pascal on her shoulder, she slid down her hair. stopping just inches above the ground. Slowly Rapunzel touched one foot onto the soft grass and then another. "I can't believe I did this! I can't believe I did this! I can't believe I did this!" she shouted and rolled on the ground. Rapunzel was having the time of her life, but also she felt so terrible. She felt like she was betraying her mother Gothel. One minute she was rolling around the meadows gleefully, and the next minute she was sobbing face down on the fields. Flynn tried to take advantage of Rapunzel's guilt, making her feel even worse than she did. "Does your mother deserve this?" he asked. "No, she would be heartbroken." "Of course, I'll let you out of this deal," he said. "Turn around and go home." Flynn's charms didn't work on Rapunzel. "I'm seeing those lanterns," she said. Not far from the tower, Mother Gothel came face to face with Maximus, a palace horse. She gasps, seeing the kingdom's sun symbol on Maximus's chest. She thought the guards had found Rapunzel. She turned back frantically, raced back into the tower. Mother Gothel searched everywhere, but Rapunzel was gone. Then she saw something shiny beneath the staircase. It was a crown in a satchel, along with Flynn's wanted poster. Now she knew exactly who had taken Rapunzel, and nothing was going to stop her from finding him. By this time, Flynn had led Rapunzel into a cozy-looking pub called the Snuggly Duckling. But inside the place, it was filled with scary-looking thugs. Flynn was hoping to frighten Rapunzel into returning to the tower. Then suddenly, someone held up Flynn's wanted poster. The pub's thugs began fighting for the reward money, with Flynn caught right in the middle of the brawl. Rapunzel banged the frying pan on a giant pot to get the thugs' attention. She asked them to let Flynn go, so that she could make her dream come true. To Rapunzel's surprise, every one of the thugs had a secret dream too. Outside, Mother Gothel arrived at the pub. She looked into the window and was shocked to see that Rapunzel had managed to befriend a room full of ruffians. Suddenly, Maximus, the royal guards, and captive Stabbington brothers burst into the pub. "Where's Ryder?" demanded the captain. One of the thugs revealed a secret passageway to Flynn and Rapunzel. They gratefully disappeared into the dark tunnel. Moments later, Maximus led the guards straight into the escape route. After they had left, the Stabbington brothers broke free and headed down the passageway themselves. They wanted the crown back. Mother Gothel had seen everything and made one of the thugs tell her where the tunnel ended. Rapunzel sprinted through the tunnel. She lassoed her hair around a rock and jumped. She swung far and wide and landed on a stone. Meanwhile, Flynn fended off Maximus and the guards with Rapunzel's frying pan. Rapunzel tossed her hair to him, and he held tight as Rapunzel swung through the air right over the Stabbington brothers. But they weren't safe yet. The arm suddenly burst, filling the entire place with water. Maximus and the guards and the Stabbington brothers were washed away, and Flynn and Rapunzel were trapped in a small cave. The water quickly began to rise. As Flynn frantically searched for a way out, he cut his hand on the rocks. "I'm so sorry, Flynn." "Eugene. My real name is Eugene Fitzherbert," Flynn admitted. "Someone might as well know." Rapunzel revealed a secret of her own. "I have magic hair that glows when I sing." Suddenly she realized her hair could light up the cave and show them a way out. At the end of the tunnel's exit, Mother Gothel waited for Flynn and Rapunzel, but instead the Stabbington brothers emerged. She offered them a revenge on Flynn and something even more valuable than the crown. The Stabbington brothers liked the idea of that. Meanwhile, Rapunzel, Flynn, and Pascal made it safely to the shore. They built a campfire for the night. Rapunzel wrapped her hair around Flynn's injured hand and began to sing. Her glowing hair healed Flynn's wound. Flynn was shocked. He was finally beginning to understand how truly special Rapunzel was. When Flynn went off to gather some firewood, Mother Gothel appeared from the shadows of the woods to take Rapunzel back to the tower, but Rapunzel refused to go. "I met someone, and I think he likes me," she said. Mother Gothel laughed at her. She handed Rapunzel the satchel and the crown and said, "That's all Flynn wants." Once Rapunzel gave him the crown, the thief would vanish. After Mother Gothel set the seeds of doubt, she returned back to the forest. Rapunzel wanted to trust Flynn, but she wasn't so sure, so she hid the satchel behind a tree nearby. The next morning, Flynn woke up to Maximus trying to drag him away. Rapunzel came to Flynn's rescue and talked to the horse about letting the thief go just for one more day. As Flynn and Maximus shook on their truce, a bell rang from the distance. Rapunzel ran towards it until she came to the crest of the hill. Rapunzel gasped, "It's an entire kingdom!" Her dream was just hours away from coming true. Rapunzel, Flynn, Maximus, and Pascal entered the gates of the kingdom. The town was the most exciting thing Rapunzel had ever experienced. A little boy greeted Rapunzel with a kingdom flag that had a golden sun symbol on it. Then a group of little girls braided Rapunzel's locks and pinned them with flowers. Afterwards, Rapunzel and Flynn joined the crowd and danced. Rapunzel couldn't help but notice a picture behind the stage. It was the king and queen holding a baby girl with striking green eyes just like her own. "Let the dance begin," called the announcer. Rapunzel and Flynn joined hands and began to whirl and twirl. After they danced, the couple visited shops and enjoyed the sights, all while getting to know each other a little bit better. It was a wonderful day, and as the evening approached, Flynn led Rapunzel to a boat and rowed them out to the perfect spot where they could see a perfect view of the kingdom. As the lanterns filled the sky, Rapunzel's heart soared. She gave Flynn the satchel, which she had kept hidden all day. She was no longer afraid that he would leave her once he had the crown. Beneath the glow of the lanterns, Rapunzel and Flynn held hands and gazed into each other's eyes. Their romantic moment ended abruptly when Flynn spotted the Stabbington brothers watching them from the shore. He quickly rowed the boat to land. "I'll be right back," he said to Rapunzel. He grabbed the satchel and gave it to the brothers. Here's your crown," but they wanted Rapunzel and her magic hair instead. He turned to go to Rapunzel, but the brothers knocked him unconscious and tied him to the boat and set him sailing to the harbor. The brothers told Rapunzel that Flynn had traded her for the crown. Rapunzel saw Flynn sailing away. She thought he had betrayed her. Rapunzel ran off to the forest, but the brothers wouldn't stop chasing her. Moments later, she heard Mother Gothel's voice. She ran back and found Mother Gothel standing over the unconscious Stabbington brothers. "You were right, Mother," said Rapunzel, terrified, hugging her tight. Flynn's boat continued to sail until it crashed into the dock. 2 guards found him tied up with the stolen crown and immediately dragged him to prison. Maximus was watching nearby. He had witnessed everything and he knew he had to do something to save both Flynn and Rapunzel. As Flynn was led down the prison corridors by the guards, he spotted the Stabbington brothers in a nearby cell. They admitted that Mother Gothel had told them everything about Rapunzel's hair and eventually double-crossed them. Suddenly, the pub's thugs from Snuggly Duckling arrived. They broke Flynn out of jail. They launched him over the prison walls onto Maximus's back. Maximus had planned the entire escape. Flynn thanked him, and together they went to go save Rapunzel. Back at the tower, Rapunzel sat down in her bedroom, heartbroken. She had held up the kingdom flag with the sun symbol on it and gazed at her walls of art. Then she noticed something amazing. She had been painting the sun symbol her whole life. She suddenly came to the realization that she was the lost princess. Mother Gothel tried to justify her actions, but Rapunzel was no longer believing her lies. Before Rapunzel could reach the window, Mother Gothel overpowered her. Flynn finally arrived to the tower. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," he called. Rapunzel's golden locks fell to the ground and Flynn began to climb up. When he reached the top, he found Rapunzel chained in the middle of the room. He went to help her, but Mother Gothel wounded him. Rapunzel was desperate to save Flynn's life. She begged Mother Gothel to allow her to heal him. In return, Rapunzel promised Mother Gothel she would stay with her forever. Mother Gothel agreed to unchain Rapunzel. She knew Rapunzel would never break her promise. but she chained Flynn to the wall to ensure he wouldn't be able to follow them. Rapunzel rushed to Flynn's side and placed her hair over his wound. "No, Rapunzel, don't do this," begged Flynn. "I'll be fine," said Rapunzel, looking into Flynn's eyes. "If you're okay, I'll be fine." Then Flynn suddenly reached for a shard of broken glass and cut all her hair off. It instantly turned brown and lost its healing power. "What have you done?" Mother Gothel cried. Within moments she aged hundreds and hundreds of years and then turned to dust. Rapunzel cradled Flynn in her arms and began to weep. A single golden tear fell upon Flynn's cheek. The tear began to glow. Then Flynn's entire body began to glow. Flynn was healed. Rapunzel was so happy. The two embraced each other and shared their first kiss. Flynn, Pascal, and Maximus brought Rapunzel straight to the castle. Her family rushed to hug her. They were filled with joy. Their daughter had finally returned to them. Rapunzel felt her parents' love and surrounded them with cuddles and held them tightly. They were family once more. Soon all the townspeople gathered and welcomed for a home party. The king and queen were there along with Flynn, Pascal, Maximus, and the pub thugs. The people of the kingdom released floating lanterns into the sky. Their light had guided the princess home at last. Thank you so much for watching and reading my story with me. Bye.